Good evening, YouTube. Good evening. It's your boy Humble Warrior checking in, back in with you guys again. Back with another video. It's kind of, I was actually just on TikTok just now, listening to a video by Lynn Toller. If you guys don't know who it is, that's the divorce court lawyer who, she has a lot of great takes on life, a lot of valuable information, and she did an episode, I guess, from what the clip showed, that she was talking to, I guess, young people who were either in trouble or on their way to possibly being in some type of trouble, and she was trying to steer them in the direction to not make mistakes based on emotion. The one thing that I took from that video is we as black men have to stop letting our emotions dictate what kind of action we take toward it. Meaning, our anger should not result in a violent cause. If you cannot rationalize with yourself enough to say, well, let me not kill this individual based on what I'm feeling right now. Instead, let me cool off, or let me be able to talk in a rationalized manner to where it doesn't result in a body count or a funeral home making a profit off of another person being buried, and the jail basically benefiting from me becoming another number, because you're no longer a name when you enter prison. You're a number. That's all they know you by. That's all they're gonna identify you by, is your number. So with that being said, she touched on some powerful points. The number one point being that most people don't go to jail over money or materialized stuff. They go to jail over quote unquote disrespect, over a color. The shirt I got on, the headscarf I decided to wear, or maybe because I happen to wear a black shirt today and I went into a Crip-like neighborhood and they thought I was a gangbanging or some stuff, I'm gonna pay with my life because of that type of stuff. Which doesn't make sense, because that's another person chalked up to the death toll when it doesn't have to continuously rise. We all have a death date, that's a certain, but why speed up the process through the acts of guns and violence? Why speed up that process? And like she said, most of the time it's over words. I'm not going to be disrespected. How is a word disrespecting you? Now the N-word, okay, but let's be fair here. All black people pretty much use that word. They just take the G-E-R part off and insert the A. And they say that G-E-R is worse than the A. It's not. And they actually mean the same thing. If you actually look up the definition, they mean the exact same thing. It just, we justify using that word to make it cool. I'm guilty of it. Pretty sure most of the friends I have, they're guilty of it. They use it in a fun, like, innocent way. But if another race calls us that, even with that word itself, they're gonna be more amped to say, oh, well, you know, I didn't realize, you know, I was hurting anybody. I was just doing it, you know, out of fun, or I didn't intend for it to be, you know, meant to hurt anybody. I was just using the word. But no, I mean, you can't use words like that and expect it to be okay, because it's not okay. It really isn't. And just let me say this real quick, then we got this car. We as black men got to do a lot better in how we approach situations. We really do. We have children that depend on us. It's not all about your wife or your girlfriend or whoever woman you with. It's about your children, your legacy, what you leave behind, because of what your kids are. They're your birthright or your namesake in this world. That's what can continue to carry your name even after you're gone. If you're in prison, how do they expect to carry it? There's a big asterisk beside your name. Oh, he's an inmate for murder, for drug possession, for whatever reason you went. You're just, like she said, you're a product of the system now that's making money off of you. And even in there, they still find ways to justify why they're in there. In their mind, disrespect will not be tolerated. However, the real disrespect towards yourself ended up in there. That's the true disrespect part. You kill somebody, you go to prison. You sell drugs to people, eventually you get caught and go to prison. You got a DUI, you're going to jail. If you rape somebody, you're going to prison. Child molestation, child pornography, you're going to prison. You'll die faster in prison for that than anything else. But it's an important thing that people have to realize is that, well, black men themselves have to realize is that we're needed. We're needed a lot more out here than in there. We are needed a lot more out here than in there. And our kids will say this all the time. If I had my father, even if it's just weekend visits or whatever, doesn't matter. They don't care. It's just the mere presence that you have over a child's influence and a child's life and their upbringing. It makes a difference. I would never argue about what women do. However, they do not top the influence of a man. They just don't. There's been songs made out about mamas and stuff like that, but in the background of it all is that of a father, having that manly figure. And the fact that we pile up in prisons now is like we're just filling a quota. Regardless of the reason, we're filling quotas. And I wish to God that we would wake up and stop. Because more and more young people are being lost to the system than I can probably imagine. And they've been there for 30, 40 years. They come out as old ass men when they went in there as teenagers or in their early 20s. They don't get out till they're 60 or 70. If you do 50 years in prison at 21, you come out at 71 years old. You're institutionalized. You have no real knowledge of the outside world outside of what your phone shows you. And that ain't justification enough, because the prison is an isolated area where you're not around the general public. So you have no idea what it's like out here. Only thing you can do is go on TikTok or other outlets and see what other people, when they engage and talk to you. But other than that, you have no real recollection of what's going on. And how can you? How can you? But I want us to do better. I love our brothers out there. I want you guys to start standing up, taking care of your families, loving your kids, loving your spouses, your girls, whoever they are, and start being so quick to use violence as a way to maintain respect. You don't always have to come down to that. Sometimes it's simple, sometimes walking away is just that simple. It's just that simple. Because a lot of times those things end up real bad for that person or the person that it's intended for. And it shouldn't be that way. Self-defense is one thing, but when you say he disrespected me so I gotta take his life, it's never that deep. Words can be brushed off like rain or anything else. And they can be replaced with better things. Because if somebody disrespects you, you can just cut them off. I.e. block them. I.e. don't talk to them again. I.e. completely erase them from your life if you feel disrespected. It should never result in you getting a gun and shooting somebody to death. Shouldn't come down to that. Or stabbing them to death if you meet up in person. Or whatever you're going to do to them physically to hurt them. It shouldn't come down to that. If you felt disrespected, then don't talk to them ever again. That's simple. Erase the negativity and breed positivity. With that being said, guys, let me get out of here. Gotta go do some stuff on this computer. But you gotta be blessed. Peace.